Hey, y'all. For the record, I was gonna talk about something else besides racism. I was, honest, but dang, this happened.
Hopper comes across, I start shooting him, and Hopper jumps at me. I'm like, this is a little kid, you're overdoing it. So I'm like, don't do it to yourself. All right, and he starts with the you and the then he calls me a gay slur. I'm like, word. Walks inside the building, then he gets to the elevator. His father's still there waiting for the elevator. I'm like, dude, this is what you teach your son? And his father makes no reply, and from that point it turns into him calling me the N-word, screaming it. I'm like, word? All right.
Like I said, when it's an obvious act or outburst of racism, it's practically always a liberal, but he'll get a pass, like being covered with castor oil and easily passed through the bowels of the left-wing media.
I think what's happening. Propaganda.
Don't give me no excuse about the paparazzi. Sean Penn is supposed to be one of them pacifists. I reckon that's what he teaches his son. Oh, America's not supposed to defend herself or her allies when threatened or attacked, but Sean Penn is ready to put on his kicking shoes and wear out some kneecaps over some camera snaps. All that money and all that fame still hasn't wiped that scowl off Sean Penn's face. I understand, the paparazzi's always snapping pictures of you. Aren't you lucky those are your problems? But hey, you're a pacifist. You mean you couldn't find a peaceful solution to handle this? You mean there comes a time when it's okay to defend your space and fight? And obviously, in your world, there comes a time when it's okay to call someone the N-word or even the F-word. And by the F-word, I mean sodomite. And considering the hostility in which Hopper Penn used that word, you really believe he has respect for gays? You really think his dad does too? Or for that matter, other races? You liberals are gonna give this blatant bigotry and belligerence that obviously runs in their family a pass. Hey, my job is to point them out and show those who aren't hardwired liberal that liberals and Democrats are the ones who keep racism active. People think that being liberal is just all about being accepting and peace and love, and being conservative is the opposite. No, being liberal always leads to the unhealthy exploitation of things, like being liberal with your emotions and not having control over them, as opposed to being conservative with your emotions and knowing how to express them in a healthy and effective manner to a more positive effect. These liberal actors are constantly being liberal with their lifestyle and at times act like they're above the law because they think they're above you. We've watched their antics for years as they display their "what are you gonna do about it" attitude. I'm rich, I'm famous, and I'm liberal. Hopper just insulted gays and blacks, and Beyonce insulted women and exalted herself in song.
I know when you were little girls, you dreamt of being in my world. Don't forget it, don't forget it. Respect that. Bow down, just bow down, just bow down, just bow down, just bow down, just.
Liberals talk with such blind reverence about people being down to earth and humble, yet they love people who exalt themselves, expressing demeaning sentiments toward others and just chalk them up to being fierce and fab and raw. Beyonce will be given a pass for her song, but if Beyonce were to sing that same song and then say she was a conservative Republican, Beyonce would immediately be deemed the high priestess in the war on women. See, conservatives don't roll like this. But liberals like to advance things like, yeah, that's because they say all that stuff in private. Liberals like to indict conservatives for stuff they have no evidence of and hold them in suspicion and prejudice while excusing liberals who blatantly display the behavior they accuse conservatives of. People have a very twisted idea of what it is to be liberal or conservative and what they ultimately lead to. I invite y'all to see what the implications are in my audiobook, Weapon of Mass Destruction, available at my website, AlfonZoRachel.com. You may not agree, but keep in mind, a lot of y'all were taught what liberal and conservative meant in public school. I'm just saying. I'm AlfonZo Rachel with Zo Nation, where we shine the light on liberal hypocrisy. And the reason why we have to shine the light on them is because liberalism keeps people in the dark in the first place.